I am the reason you should never visit Liberty Island after dark. My name is Captain Ethan Granger, and I am a ghost forever bound to this island, cursed to relive the night I lost everything. The legend of my haunting has been told for over a century, but few believe it until it's too late. It was a crisp October night in 1895 when the tragedy occurred. As the captain of the ferry Lady Liberty, I had ferried countless tourists to and from the iconic statue. That fateful night, a dense fog enveloped the island, shrouding it in an eerie silence. The last ferry had left, and I was preparing for the final round of checks before closing down for the night. Little did I know, something ancient and malevolent had awakened beneath the waters of New York Harbor. As I made my rounds, a chill ran down my spine, and I felt an unseen presence watching me. The whispers began a cacophony of voices, some pleading, others taunting. My curiosity got the better of me, and I ventured towards the statue, the whispers growing louder with each step. As I reached the pedestal, I saw her, a ghostly figure draped in tattered clothes, her eyes hollow and empty. She beckoned me closer, and despite the terror gripping my heart, I couldn't resist. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "I am Lady Liberty, but not as you know me. I am the spirit of the oppressed, the souls who perished in pursuit of freedom," she replied, her voice echoing with sorrow. Before I could react, she lunged at me, her icy fingers closing around my throat. Darkness consumed me, and I felt my soul being torn from my body. When I awoke, I was no longer alive, but a ghostly specter bound to the island. My body lay lifeless at the statue's base, my face twisted in an expression of pure terror. The Lady of the Harbor had claimed me, just as she had countless others before. Now, I haunt Liberty Island, forever trapped in a cycle of torment. Each night I relive the horror of my death, my soul unable to find peace. I am drawn to the living, compelled to warn them of the danger that lurks in the shadows. Tourists often visit the island, unaware of the malevolent force that resides here. They laugh and take photos, oblivious to the dark presence that watches them. I try to warn them, manifesting as a cold breeze or a fleeting shadow, but few heed my warnings. One fateful night, a group of teenagers decided to spend the night on the island, daring each other to explore its haunted corners. As the clock struck midnight, the fog rolled in, and the whispers began. The Lady of the Harbor emerged from the darkness, her eyes fixed on the unsuspecting intruders. I watched in helpless horror as she claimed them one by one, their screams echoing through the night. Their bodies were never found, just like mine. Now their spirits join mine, forever bound to the island. We roam the deserted grounds, reliving our final moments over and over. The Lady of the Harbor feeds on our despair, growing stronger with each soul she claims. Visitors to Liberty Island sometimes catch glimpses of U.S. shadowy figures lurking in the fog, eyes filled with unending sorrow. They dismiss it as their imagination, but deep down, they feel the chill of our presence. One particularly cold autumn evening, I encountered a young couple, Jason and Emily, who had come to the island seeking a thrill. They were ghost hunters, armed with cameras and recording equipment, determined to capture proof of the paranormal. I watched them from the shadows, their excitement palpable. They set up their gear near the base of the statue, laughing nervously as they dared each other to call out to the spirits. As the night deepened, the fog thickened, wrapping the island in an impenetrable shroud. The whispers began to swirl around them, and I saw the familiar fear creep into their eyes. They called out to me, not knowing who or what they were truly summoning. "Is anyone here with us?" Jason's voice trembled as he spoke, unable to resist the compulsion. I materialized before them, my form barely visible in the mist. "Leave this place," I warned, my voice echoing with the weight of my curse. "You do not belong here." Emily clutched Jason's arm, her face pale with fear. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, her eyes wide. Before they could react, the Lady of the Harbor emerged from the darkness, her hollow eyes fixed on the intruders. Jason and Emily screamed, but their cries were swallowed by the fog. She reached out with her icy fingers, and in an instant, they were gone, their bodies never to be found. Their spirits joined mine, their despair feeding the lady's insatiable hunger. Now they too wander the island, reliving their final moments in an endless loop of terror. The island has become a prison for lost souls, each new victim adding to the chorus of whispers that haunt the night. Over the years, the stories of disappearances and ghostly encounters have turned Liberty Island into a place of dark fascination. Tourists come seeking thrills, but many leave with more than they bargained for. Some claim to have felt a cold hand brush their shoulder or heard disembodied voices warning them to leave. Others speak of seeing shadowy figures moving through the fog, their eyes filled with unending sorrow. The island's dark reputation only grew as more and more tales of strange occurrences spread. One particularly chilling account came from a seasoned police officer named Marcus Hayes, who had been assigned to patrol the island one night after numerous complaints of trespassing teenagers. As a man of logic and reason, he dismissed the ghost stories as mere superstitions, nothing more than urban legends designed to scare off the faint of heart. Marcus's first few hours on the island were uneventful. The stillness of the night was occasionally broken by the distant sounds of the city across the water. He walked the grounds, flashlight in hand, noting the historical significance of the monument and the eerie beauty of the fog-enshrouded statue. However, as the clock struck midnight, an unsettling chill swept through the air. The fog thickened, and the whispers began soft at first, then growing louder and more insistent. "Leave. You do not belong here," the voices seemed to come from all around him, echoing off the statue and the nearby trees. Marcus spun around, trying to locate the source, but saw nothing. His heartbeat quickened as he felt an icy hand graze the back of his neck. Turning quickly, he saw a shadowy figure disappear into the mist. Determined to confront whatever prankster was causing the disturbances, Marcus followed the figure deeper into the fog. The whispers grew louder, merging into a dissonant chorus of pleas and warnings. As he moved closer to the statue, he noticed faint, glowing-shaped spectral forms of the island's tormented souls. Their eyes, filled with unending sorrow, locked onto him, silently begging for release. Marcus's flashlight flickered and died, plunging him into near darkness. Panic set in as he realized he had ventured too far from his patrol car. The ghostly figures closed in, their faces twisted in expressions of agony. One by one, they whispered their stories to him, tales of lives cut short, of dreams shattered by the malevolent force that held them captive. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the fog, more solid than the others. It was Captain Ethan Granger, his spectral form radiating an aura of despair. "You must leave this place," he urged, his voice filled with urgency. "The lady of the harbor grows stronger with each soul she claims. You must escape before she takes you too." Despite his fear, Marcus's training as an officer kicked in. He demanded answers, wanting to understand what he was up against. Ethan explained the curse that bound him and the other souls to the island, how the lady of the harbor, once a symbol of hope and freedom, had been twisted by the sorrow and pain of those who had perished in pursuit of the American dream. "She feeds on our despair," Ethan said, his ghostly eyes meeting Marcus's. "Every soul she claims adds to her power. You must warn others, keep them away from this cursed place." With a final, desperate effort, Ethan and the other spirits guided Marcus back through the fog to the safety of his patrol car. As he drove away, the whispers faded and the chill lifted. But the experience left an indelible mark on him. He filed his report, detailing the supernatural encounter, but it was met with skepticism and disbelief by his superiors. Marcus, however, knew what he had seen and heard. He became a fervent advocate for closing off Liberty Island to nighttime visitors, spreading the tale of Captain Ethan Granger and the Lady of the Harbor to anyone who would listen. Over time, the island was officially declared off limits after sunset, but that didn't stop the most daring thrill-seekers from attempting to uncover its secrets. One such group was a team of paranormal investigators from a popular television show. Eager to capture evidence of the island's haunting, they obtained special permission to spend the night. Armed with the latest ghost hunting equipment, they set up cameras and recording devices around the statue, fully expecting to debunk the myths. As the night wore on, their excitement turned to dread. Equipment malfunctioned, temperatures dropped suddenly, and the whispers began. The cameras captured fleeting images of spectral figures and unexplained phenomena, but it was the personal experiences of the crew that truly terrified them. One investigator, Sarah, felt an invisible force pull at her hair and clothing. Another, Tom, heard his name whispered directly into his ear, despite standing alone. Their leader, Mike, saw the figure of Captain Granger standing near the statue, his expression one of sorrow and warning. "Leave now, while you still can," Ethan implored. Ignoring the warnings, the team pressed on, determined to get their proof. But as midnight approached, the atmosphere grew more oppressive. The Lady of the Harbor made her presence known. Emerging from the shadows, her form was both mesmerizing and horrifying. She moved with an otherworldly grace, her hollow eyes fixed on the intruders. Panic ensued as the investigators tried to flee. Sarah was the first to be claimed, her scream echoing through the night as she vanished into the fog. Tom and Mike ran towards the dock, but the lady was relentless. Tom was dragged away, his cries for help silenced abruptly. Mike, the last remaining, made it to the edge of the island, only to feel an icy grip on his ankle, pulling him back into the darkness. The next morning, the team's equipment was found scattered around the statue, their recordings showing only static and distorted images. The crew was never seen again, their fate joining the countless others lost to the island's curse. Stories like these continued to emerge, each adding to the legend of Liberty Island. Locals and authorities eventually placed stricter regulations on visits, yet the allure of the haunted island persisted. Those who braved its shores at night often did so in defiance of the warnings, driven by curiosity or disbelief. For Captain Ethan Granger and the souls bound to Liberty Island, the cycle of torment continues. They watch as new visitors arrive, hoping to save them from the same fate. But the Lady of the Harbor remains ever vigilant, ever hungry for more souls to sustain her dark power. So if you ever find yourself drawn to Liberty Island after dark, remember the stories and heed the warnings. Leave immediately and never look back. For if you don't, you might find yourself trapped in an eternal nightmare, another lost soul in the shadows of Liberty Island. This is my story, a tale of eternal torment and unending horror. Remember my name, Captain Ethan Granger, and the fate that befell me. And pray that you never hear the whispers of Liberty Island, for they are the heralds of your doom.